Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and today I will be riding Faith again, like always, but I have some very exciting news for you. Faith just went up for lease, and so I've been riding Faith for about a month now, and I am going to ask my parents if we can lease Faith, over starting now and lease her until the end of the show season. And hopefully by then I will be experienced enough to be riding another horse, like a more advanced cross country horse. So today I went into the barn to see Faith, and Ruby's stall door was open because the stable hand was in there watering her. But it's pretty early in the morning right now, so all the horses are either eating breakfast or waiting for their breakfast, and Faith has already finished her breakfast, which is very good because we all know that if she hadn't finished her breakfast, she would not listen to me at all. So after I tacked her up, or I didn't tack her up, sorry guys. After I had put her halter on, I walked her out of her stall, and she was so dirty. Like, there was pee and poop stuck in her fur because she was so because she was laying down in her stall overnight. Sometimes she does that, and it is really annoying because every time that she does that, I need to kind of bathe her. So I'm just going to rinse her off quickly, guys, because, we kind of need to. So I took off her halter, and when I'm bathing her, she just stands still. So I rinsed her on both sides, and I did get a little wet, but that's fine. I decided that I would just tack her up in here because, we were already in here. So I dried her off, and then I decided to tack her up. And I'm pretty sure we're doing cross country today. So I tacked her up, and my instructor is actually not going to be riding with me today. I'm going to be riding her on my own today. So that's very exciting for me and for her. So I got all ready to go out, and she was itching her leg a little bit, so I had to wait a second. Then eventually we left, and she was being super, she wasn't being bad, she was just being very antsy, and she was ready to get out. So I got on her before we left the barn, like I always do, especially just in case when we got outside. Just in case if we got outside and she was a little bit spooky, I would have more control over her. So I brought her out of the barn, and I asked the stable hand to open the door for me. And as you can see, the stable yard is very busy, and there are multiple people riding. Because there's actually a workshop going on here right now where they're teaching a bunch of beginners how to ride horses and proper horse care and all that sort of stuff. So there's a bunch of people here. But me and Faith kind of just ignored that all, and I brought her into the pasture to warm her up, and then I'm pretty sure that instead of doing cross country today, I talked with my instructor, and she let me. She said that I could take a trail ride with Faith, either to Silverglade Village and run around the fields there, or I could take a trail ride to her to Fort Pinta, and we could hang out on the beach. So I decided I'd bring her to Fort Pinta and that we would hang out on the beach. But I kind of wanted to make sure that she would behave inside the arena, and so that I could get her to behave outside the arena as well. And I'm super excited that I may be able to lease Faith, and I'm hoping that my parents will eventually let me lease Faith. And if you guys want a tour of my um house, well, it's not really a house, it's more of an apartment. But my parents live downstairs. I don't exactly live upstairs. There's just one little room upstairs that I stay in, but the kitchen and everything else is down in the basement. Or it's not really a basement, but I picked her up to a canner and she seemed really good, so I decided I would work her the other way just a little bit and then we would go out onto the trails. But she was being very, very good today, especially about her headset at the trot, which was very nice. And so I trotted her over to the exit of the arena, and we mostly just walked and trotted all the way to Fort Pinta. But she definitely enjoyed going to Fort Pinta, and as you can see here, she cantered, and I was trying to make her trot, but she wouldn't. So as soon as I got her to stop, I backed her up and I said no, and then I kept trotting her. But we were heading over to Fort Pinta, and there were so many people here riding. It was like unbelievable because normally Moreland Stables is a lot more quiet than this. But today it was not quiet at all. She was super good about going to Fort Pinta. I know we're not even like halfway there yet, but she didn't mind for all the first few moments, and that was when it was busiest because it was kind of going around the stable yard. But I decided we wouldn't go through the stable yard just because I know that she probably would not have appreciated that very much. But yeah. So we are about halfway there, and I decided that we could kind of gallop up this hill and around this field a little bit. So I brought her right up into a gallop, and we kind of galloped around this field a little bit until we had to get back to the road. And then there was a stone wall, and I decided that we would jump it. We would be risky and we would jump it. And actually, we made it. So we landed on grass. So we kept galloping, and felt so nice to do this with her, and to know that hopefully, soon she will be not mine for good, but mine to lease, and that not really I can do whatever I want with her, but I'll have a little more freedom with her than just riding her in lessons because lessons are fun and useful, but I like to have a little more freedom with her. Like today, where I was allowed to bring her down to the Fort Pinta Beach all on my own and ride around with her and just have a fun time without being yelled at every 5 seconds on fixing her head or pointing my heels down or setting her up for the jump correctly. So it's a lot more calming, kind of just to have her um, on a little calm trail ride than it is to have her in a lesson. And definitely when I start leasing her, I'll be doing more trail rides with her. And I'm hoping that sometime soon I can, well, it's not going to be anytime soon, but sometime I can get my own horse, but that won't be anytime soon because right now I'm in uh, middle school, so I'm trying to come to the barn whenever I can and not uh, like around school, which is kind of hard. And I've been trying to get my lessons in every day, but it's been more like once a week or every other day. So that's why you're not seeing very many lesson videos. But we finally got down to the beach and we were on the rocky part and we kept trotting over to the sand. And I decided here that we could gallop a little bit more, and she seemed so excited. So I brought her right up to a gallop, and we galloped right across the sand. And it felt so good to do this with her, and so good to just, relax with her and kind of just have a fun time. And nobody was down on the beach, so we basically had the whole beach to ourselves. And I decided that I'd bring her in the water a little bit. Um, and I could do that because the cross country boots I got her have little holes in them, so that when we go through the water, they'll they will drain out all the water. And as you can see here, the water was about up to my boot, and my boots are waterproof, luckily, and it did get the saddle a little bit wet, but she didn't mind, and honestly, neither did I. And I didn't care that I was wet because even though it's like the morning, it's a very hot summer day. Um, so I decided that we weren't going to do much cross country, but while we were down at the beach, we may as well. So I was kind of just making up a trail as we went, and I didn't really know Fort Pinta Beach, so we were kind of just running around and having a fun time. And she was super good, and she definitely liked doing this a lot more than us having a lesson. She definitely likes cross country and just being able to run and run and run. And I did this jump with her. It was just like a fence, but she still nicked it. And I was glad to see that there were more jumps coming up because I love jumping with her. I never really liked jumping before, but with her, it's a completely different story. And I didn't want to get lost, so I turned back and I went over the jumps again. And this time we were on another lead, but she still did just as well. And I have to remember not to make her jump too soon because she always nicks the jumps, which is definitely not her fault. It's my fault. So just to let you guys know, how many times she nicks a jump. Every time she nicks a jump, I'm gonna put a little red flash screen on so that you guys know. And she was so good. As you can see, she was running very, very fast through across the sand. And I decided that it wouldn't really hurt to go on the rocky part a little bit because up here it was all like sand and dirt. And I stayed on the dirt part and then I stopped her for a minute and then we kept going. But it was definitely really nice to do this with her. And yeah, so we ran, and there were some rocks we could jump over. Even though they weren't a big jump, it was still a jump, and we went across a little bridge. And then we met two girls named Penny and Polly. Um, and we talked for a little bit, and then me and Faith were on our way again. And honestly, I had no clue where I was going, but I was kind of just riding. And then I realized that I was really close to Moreland Stables, and I was kind of going back where was. I was kind of going back to Moreland Stables a little bit, and I had come up by where I rode her down. So I brought her back down to the beach because I didn't want my trainer to come check on us and us not to be there. So we galloped back down to the beach, and we kind of got lost a little bit, but I could see the beach, but I just couldn't find a way down to the beach. So just in case, I cantered her and then I trotted her, looking for a way down to the beach because obviously we couldn't jump off the cliff. Um, it's not really like cross country where we can just jump it and expect to land on the other half of the cliff, but because there is no other half of the cliff and we would land on the ground and we would both get hurt. So, yeah. But after a while of trotting around, I finally found a way back down to the beach. And yeah. So I brought her down to the beach once more, and she was starting to get very, very, very tired, which I understood a lot because um, you know, we had done a lot of running and stuff. So yeah. I am gonna bring her back to the barn now, so yeah. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Hope to see you guys next time. Bye!